Hello and welcome. Tuesday noon, Marianne and I are playing together again.
Yes.
And Marianne, we'll start today's conversation about change.
Oh, ho, ho. Yes,
Welcome.
change. Welcome, welcome, welcome to change. Wow. Yeah, change is really up in my world. And speaking of change, is also change in information that's coming out, where we can go with our presence there. Really, like, it's even more inviting me and other people, that's how I see, to be really present even more than before. And when I say before, then I speak about a day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago,
Yeah.
because it's going faster and faster and faster and faster. And I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful that more and more is coming out, is coming to the surface to awaken people.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, yesterday I did a Zoom and we spoke about ease and joy
Yeah.
within the change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in the start, when I mentioned it, like, yeah, but what if? What if you choose ease with change? Would that change something? And I noticed that they contracted, like, what are you speaking about? Ease with change. So I laughed, and then, yeah, we talked about, and then within 5 minutes later, due to things I went through with them, taking them more present with their bodies, with the energy, and so asking, what is change? What is change? What is change for you? What is change for me? What is change?
Yeah.
What is change?
And
And
what is
going
change for
there.
the earth? Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, but that was what I wanted to go to.
Ah,
Like, yes, you took it out of my head.
damn it.
Damn it. So yeah, it was also for me like, yeah, but how, what is change for Earth? How is Earth going with change?
Mm-hmm.
How do you see change? Is change for you something hard work, something terrible, something you have to think about?
Um, Change for me, it sort of feels funny if there is no change in my life. And some change is absolutely, totally ease. It's sort of like, oh, I finally get it. Let's go for it, you know? And other change is, no, I've been doing this because I didn't want to do the other thing. And so it is more difficult. No, no, difficult is not the right word. I would say more laborious because I have to stay aware of, am I right now fighting against the change or am I going with the change?
Yeah.
You know, so it's a mixed thing, although I have to say the latter one is less. I'm more
Yeah.
easygoing with change, and change is absolutely fine for me.
But what you mentioned, Karina, is when it's more hard labor, then you are in the question. So is being with it and going through the questions to become more aware or more clear, is that really truly hard work?
No, not the question, but implementing.
Oh, that is
It's sort
what
of
you
like
meant.
I'm talking about changing behavior,
Yeah.
like eating differently, watching out for certain things that I
Yeah.
like to do just because, like, okay, it's
Hmm.
time to check out.
So
I
is
don't
this
want to be
also,
present, so let's do this, and then I can just go overboard.
so
And
what I pick up there, is there also the energy of the automatic pilot,
yeah,
as we all know.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And even though, Corinna, and
And
that's
I'm
from my
still aware of it.
experience. Yeah.
That's the interesting thing
Yeah.
is it's
But
yeah,
yeah,
go
go,
ahead.
go, go, go.
It's for me, it's not any more easily possible to truly fully check out. To sort of what I mean with check out is just become unconscious.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's there is still, even though I'm having, it's sort of like the surface and I'm underneath the surface, but there is still a level of awareness that uh, doesn't go to sleep.
Yeah. And do you know from my experience, what I came aware of for me
Hmm.
is everywhere the automatic pilot or that hard labor or something less than ease shows up in the change, is when I not really chose the change. That's where I'm noticing I'm still going to figure it out or to reflect. Is it the right way? Is it the
Going to
correct?
judgment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that, as though when choosing change, receiving change, really choosing for it, it is really ease. It's in a fraction of a second.
Yeah.
It can happen. And that is the ease. And also there with Earth, when Earth notices that she requires something different, a change, is she choosing it? Is she acting on it? Or is she still
Oh, she's
there?
contemplating it and thinking about it seriously.
Yes, yes. Perhaps, perhaps she's writing down all the changes that didn't work and that she has to
All the
contemplate.
pros and all the cons and all, yeah,
Yeah, but that's what we are doing.
exactly.
That's what we are doing. It's not like, even though, how many times did it happen, knowing that it would serve better, that it would create something greater, and still, let, yes,
It becomes
because,
hard labor.
and then becomes our play. So then we go, we know where to go to, we know
Mhm.
that that will create greater. But instead of saying, yes, I'm choosing there for that change, for that greater, no, we will see and go, because it could happen that I'm wrong
Yeah.
with what I know. So I figure it out on my way. And
And
what if when you are going, that there where you are going to, when you arrive there, is not any longer what is required. So you come
mhm,
too late, in a matter of speaking.
that's one thing. Yeah. And I have been lately really becoming aware of how how unnatural we humans are. I mean, would a plant, would an animal have those conversations with itself. They just go with it. Earth just goes with it, just does it. But we need to contort ourselves and
Yeah.
twist ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, and it is not a natural behavior in the sense of this is what nature does and this is where the ease is.
Yeah. And does nature have a hat? Does nature go with the
You mean our
the
prized
melt?
possession is not necessarily the best thing?
Not necessarily. That's what I discovered in my reality.
Me
It
too.
is. When I heard it say, when I went to a 3-day body class, working and being with bodies, and there I heard it the first time. The first time I went to was really like, everything here is the lie, and there is the truth. And I thought, what is she saying?
Mm,
Because, yeah, I couldn't even consider, not even consider that it could be true that the head doesn't matter. In a manner of speaking, the head isn't necessarily. Yeah, the brain is responsible for, yeah, or that we can speak, that we can hear, that we can see, that we do our things. Yeah, it's not without a brain that we can have the experience we have. But for true living,
yeah.
conscious living, we don't need it.
We need the brain so the body can function.
Yeah,
The heart beats, all the
yeah,
organs work, everything within the body works the way it is designed. For
yeah.
that, we truly need the brain. But for anything else,
And how much do we even that put we force on that natural way of being? Isn't it? Because our bodies are screaming
mhm,
louder than ever.
yeah.
How could it be if our bodies, the communication of our bodies, our bodies tell us the truth. The head not, but we need the head, or the brain is there for, yeah, the internal function of the body, whatever.
And how much do we use the mind, the brain, depending on how people talk about it, to translate, quote unquote, energy into conclusions and definitions that then get us on the not practical path. Let's stay away from labels and judgments, but it's not practical. Not pragmatic is actually the better.
Pragmatic, yeah, yeah, yeah. But we grow up from the start. We
Yeah,
hear, think about it.
yeah.
You have to overthink everything. And that's where I mean also, as we see, like in sports, with food, with beauty treatments, even
Mm-hmm.
all those plastic surgeons, isn't that forcing the original natural way of brain function? So we disturb, or is it that we disturb our brain? Do we that? No, we don't do it conscious, no.
No, we don't do it, and not even in a way cognitively, but we have
Yeah,
all those definitions and interpretations of what beauty is. And so we need to make everybody through those treatments the same
Yeah.
or very similar, so they follow that standard
Yeah.
instead of recognizing that there is also diversity in beauty. And even if we're willing to look at history, how much has the image of beauty changed throughout human history?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
how ridiculous is it to have one way of defining beauty?
And all comes down to judgment,
Yeah.
definitions,
Mhm.
structures. It's always the same, and only tapping in judgments and earth. Could earth even be earth, be the consciousness she is with judgment?
And if Earth would judge, how much diversity would we have? Would Earth have?
None. None. But for me, tapping really in now in this moment, in
Mhm.
that energy of that judgment, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that we are doing it.
Yeah.
It's it doesn't serve anything.
So it's another unnatural thing.
And that's also the change that brings this change, to see that how we learn to operate as human being, that is so artificial,
Hmm.
that we can questioning what is more natural,
Yeah.
what is natural really. Our beings are natural, we are
Hmm.
infinite, but the way we embody that natural, is it that we, because the separation we still live, the separation with our body, the separation with consciousness, even because still there is, yeah, there is separation. We aren't yet consciousness, that due that separation we become that artificial being that we call human.
Yeah, but didn't you know that we're special?
Oh,
That we are the crown of creation?
yeah, sorry. As I see it, then is the earth for me is a really special creature. And yes, every day I ask to become more, as not as the earth, as though becoming earth, but the conscious being earth
Yeah.
is. And yeah, asking what else can you contribute to me, and can I contribute to you?
Hmm.
And also, that is a weird way of acting, but what if, as I experience it, is the more I am willing to contribute to the earth, the more I become more clear and conscious about that insanity of going with artificial human, I'm not gonna say being, but human act, human actions and human acting, and
Hmm.
yeah.
And one thing, tapping into humanity, so to speak, into most people, how many find it inconceivable that I, as the small human being, can contribute to the huge earth?
Yeah.
And what if size, body size,
Doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter? What if the energetic contribution that I can be
Yeah.
is worth?
But there you mentioned something, the size of the body. I, for so many years, and even with different kind of spiritual ways to go with it, it was like my body, it it looked like I really bought into the idea that the body is limited,
Mm-hmm.
that it is the body is limiting our way of living on earth, which is insane because our bodies aren't limited. It's not a limitation. As though also earth, the body of earth, the body of earth changes every day. And
I
are
mean,
we?
there's the obvious changes of like seasons, weather. You know, you have sunshine, you have cloudy, you have snow, you have rain, you have heat, you have, all those things. But what if even the body of the earth is not limited by the physical volume of the earth, but energetically is way reaching beyond it, and is because of that energetic reaching beyond it is actually way more part of the universe than just the physical aspect of the earth. And
So
the
true.
same is true for any kind of planet.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. For me, that is true. And I'm not. Can I ask you something? As
Mhm.
what I notice due to our, it's not for comparing because we don't have to compare anything, but what I notice today, the energy we are, or the earth is speaking through us about change, that it is, there is so much resistance. The energy is so, I'm not, yeah, I don't have words for it. It looks like heavy, and at the same time it isn't heavy. It's an intensity, it's resistance. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, how much resistance there is still for change.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, isn't that resistance to change showing in the desire for and the attempt to control everything?
Yes, tell more.
And I, to just point it out on some level, I was told that I broke the marriage contract because I changed.
Guilty.
And yeah, and for how many others is that valid? But there is also the separation. Isn't change something absolutely natural for anything that is alive?
Yeah.
And how much are we aware of how much even our body, our cell structure, our organs, our skeleton, our skin, I mean, all of it is constantly changing. Yes, it's at different rates or different speeds. it takes just that much time for this to change, and it takes a year for that to change, and so many years for another thing to change, but it is changing. Change is part of life. And how much are we resisting life
Yeah.
by resisting change? And Earth doesn't resist change.
Do you know what? I become aware now when you are speaking about this change because it is all the cells, the skin, the organs, everything changed in a different time space, but it changes. And is it from that resistance we have that we become old? Because we want to stick with what we know, with what we have, although the natural way of existence we can't control, because that consciousness is way bigger than every control we put out.
Yeah, is that resistance actually, if you want to say so, what is killing our bodies?
Yeah.
And, what about the biblical ages of people getting to be 600, 700, 800 years old?
And how old is Earth? Billions of trillions of years.
Yeah.
Still alive, and more alive than a year ago.
And continuously supporting life, no matter how it looked like. I mean, talk about Earth's climate, it being really hot, it being really seriously cold. But no matter what, it supported life.
Yeah. But how much do we support our own lives?
Good
Do we
question.
support? Yeah, do we support ourselves? That was a
Good
question that
question.
that popped up immediately. Do I support my life?
And what is the difference between living and being alive?
Oh, I can tell I lived. Now I am alive. But for many years I lived and was dying while
Yeah.
living.
Yeah.
Now I am alive
Mm-hmm.
because I know it. When I wake up, there is happiness.
And
Not
you made,
always awakening, because sometimes there is happiness in my world, but I know it isn't mine, and it doesn't kill my happiness. I am happy.
yeah.
And when I clear and let go of everything that isn't mine, I am always alive. And that was not before. That was not before. I
And
became, yes,
how
say,
much was that a choice to change?
it was.
Yeah.
It was. Absolutely. And every day, again, it is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Every day. It's not, that's my way of going with it. And my point of view there is change is every day, every hour, every second, in a matter of speaking, is a choice. It's not, oh, I make the choice for that change, and that change comes and it's done. It doesn't work like that.
You know what just came for me? Breathing. Every in breath, every out breath is change.
Is yeah. And even this, Karina, because I notice so much reaction here, is even this is for so many people on earth not a thing that can exist, that can be true. That every breath in, out is change.
Yeah, how much is that then not being aware of the change each breath creates in the body? I
Yeah.
mean, adding oxygen to our bloodstream so we can move in the muscles and the brain, and then exhaling, what changes that creating, getting rid of, letting go of. So,
Yeah, but if you acknowledge that, Karina, what is there to blame? Who is there to blame? Because when you really acknowledge that every breath you take, there is change and there is also possibility to change. It's not because there is change that you choose it, but there is the possibility
yeah,
to
which
change.
of the possibilities do you choose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't it? So we how many do we choose to hang on beliefs, disbeliefs, to maintain what we decided, defined,
To stay
what
in
is true,
control?
to stay in control. Yeah, and it is something really for me with yeah my body, because it's a magical body, and my body is a true healer, and knowing where I am today, knowing a lot more, being in allowance and choosing a lot more, still that the type of control that is not directly recognizable as control, but it is control, and that fits in this what we speak about, the change that is possible with every breath.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I acknowledge now in public that I'm still in control and resistance. The resistance or yeah, the
Yeah.
resistance is
Yeah.
a structure of control I still use to not change, to not allow my body to change because it's not to change. Wow, wow,
Yeah.
not allowing my body to change. How does it get any better than this? Wow, we are so cute, Karina.
And how much is what we grew up with, what we were entrained to,
Yeah.
what we learned, this is possible and this is not possible. It is not possible that our bodies change, that our bodies know what they really would like to, how they would like to operate, how they
Yeah.
would like to look like, how they would like to fill in the blank. That is not possible.
What do you say that you can ask your body how my body would like to appear? Whoa.
Yeah, but
Yes,
then
I.
if I identify myself with my body, how willing am I to look different, except for what is allowed due to aging?
Mm, 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 mm. Wow, yeah. And that's only a fraction of all the definitions and conclusions and whatever there is.
Yeah.
Yes, change. Yeah, change is a topic with a lot of resistance.
On some level, change is a four-letter word.
Yeah. And knowing, Karina, knowing that when we be, it is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Everything is a piece of cake. Ah, yes. I can say this conversation now opened again
Yeah.
other consciousness, yeah, where I still not already allowed myself to have a look on, but now, yeah.
Yeah. And during the last week, I have become aware of how much my entrainment to what is possible, what is not possible, to the belief systems, how much that is actually causing resistance to change. And now I'm truly talking just about physical change.
Yeah.
And how much have we decided that, oh, if I want to lose weight, I need to go on a diet. So eating less so I can change, but is that truly necessary?
Yeah. And that is because in this reality, when you want to lose weight, you're required to eat less.
Yeah.
And which diet you take, that's not a point. It reduces all to you have to eat less.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that every pound comes through the mouth.
Yeah.
So that indicated
Yeah.
and was the conclusion that, yeah, put it in your mouth and it sits on your body.
Yeah. So if you want to
Another,
lose it,
yeah,
process
if
it.
you want to lose it. So another thing I grew up with my mother, she said it also, and it really stuck for a long time in my world, was like, yeah, but that's the family. We only by looking at the food, we gain weight. Interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting. But by believing and going with that, how often did I gain weight?
Yeah. What if the body is not only so smart, but also willing to accommodate our belief systems?
Now you mentioned something. Our body is really willing to give what we pointed out to our bodies.
Yeah.
And that brings me back to what I said before, 5 minutes before, that I became really aware that it's not my body that doesn't want to change. It's me not allowing my body to
Yeah.
change. So, yeah, the willingness, our body is so willing.
Yeah.
Wow. And isn't that what the earth also has? A lot of willingness?
No.
No? Oh. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I'm willing to be wrong for you.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. And basically, that willingness to change is expressed through the lack of judgment.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Thank you for that.
I mean, if the earth would judge, would the earth be as willing?
Oh, yes. Interestingly, because I was aware of that, I knew it. And even that, but yeah, I couldn't receive that because if I did receive it, I had the willingness. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And that's the cute, not right.
Yeah.
Because we know, and then we choose something different.
We pretend not to know.
Oh, yes. We are really good in pretending.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, wow. Thank you, Corinna, for this conversation. It really
Thank
was,
you.
yeah, it expanded quite a lot. And and there is the bell for change.
There is the bell. We reached the end. We have to stop.
Enough change. No more.
No more change. I can deal with any further change.
Okay, so let us say that we will go on next week, same time, same place, and see what's coming up then.
What
What
we
will
cook up in
be?
the meantime,
Yes.
or what the earth tells us about.
Yeah, yeah. What it is really required to knock on the door and saying, "Hey, it's time to awake. The sun is coming up. You can go out." And we need the vitamin D.
Yeah.
So we are really supported to go with the change. Thank you, Karina. Thank you. We see each
Thanks
other
for a
next
good
week.
time
Yeah, take care.
and a deep conversation. Thank
Bye
you. Bye
bye.
bye, everybody.